The other day, I was reading Psalm 3, and it starts like this. A psalm of David when he fled from Absalom his son. O Lord, how many are my foes? Many are rising against me. Many are saying of my soul, there is no salvation for him in God. But you, O Lord, are a shield about me, my glory, and the lifter of my head. And one thing immediately stood out to me about this text, but to understand it, you kind of have to understand a little bit about the backstory. David says, Lord, I've got all these enemies that are trying to destroy me and kill me, and one of them is Absalom, my own son. Help me. And what stood out to me was that this situation was partially David's own fault, and yet he's asking God to get him out of the consequences of his actions. You see, there was this, I guess you could call it a curse placed on David's family because of a sin in David's past. He had taken this woman who was somebody else's wife and slept with her, Bathsheba. And God had told him that there would always be problems in his household because of that. And, well, a little later on down the line, when this psalm is being written, one of those problems has come upon David, and that's that his son and his allies are trying to get rid of him. My immediate thought was, I don't know that I would do this. I don't know I'd be bold enough to ask God to help me out of the circumstances that I got myself into because I didn't listen to him in the first place. And yet, we see here that David, we know that he was repentant. That's recorded back in the Old Testament story with Nathan the prophet and all of that. He repented, he came back to God. The question is God going to help him get out of these situations even though he got himself into the situation? And if you go ahead and read the rest of the psalm, you'll get the answer to that. And the answer is yes, he will help. David says that he prayed to the Lord and the Lord heard him, or the Lord answered him, and that the Lord wouldn't allow his enemies to destroy him. He extended his mercy to him. He lifted up his head. He was a shield to him, and he preserved him. So why am I, and maybe you, if you're like me, why would we be hesitant to pray a prayer like this? It might be because we're really quick to apply human nature to God and to think that he acts just like us. You know, this would be a very human nature kind of thing to do. And that is that, let's say I gave somebody some advice and they rejected my advice and they got themselves into a bad situation. It'd be very natural for me to say, well, you know what, you get yourself out of that situation because I tried to steer you in the right way, but you didn't listen to me. So, you know, I'll be here when you dig yourself out of that pit. But God isn't like us, and the Bible affirms this repeatedly. That is that if we are repentant, then God will assist us even when we get into situations that are clearly just our own stupidity. God is not incapable of taking our stupidity and making something good from it. God has used many mistakes in the past, and used them for great things. And so don't get this mentality that if you mess up and you go back to God, he's going to reject you and say, oh no, you're in the dog pen. Is that? Yeah, the dog pen. you're in the dog pen. And, I'll be here in a little while. I'll forgive you in a little while, but right now you're going to have to deal with those consequences on your own because, I'm kind of fed up with you because you didn't listen to me. That's not the way that God operates. It's the way we operate sometimes, but that's not how God operates. And that's a beautiful thing. And that's, I think, what stuck out to me so much in this passage. It's a nature that we should try to pattern, because when we mess up, that's the kind of grace that we would want extended to us. So maybe we're in a situation right now where we are going through negative consequences of our own actions. God hasn't abandoned you, and he will help you, and he can lift up your head as well if you'll go back to him and ask. And he wants to do that. Maybe you have a relationship with somebody who's done you wrong, or who's gotten themselves into a bad situation because of their own stupid decisions. How would you want to be treated if you were in that situation? You would want this same grace that David was receiving in Psalm 3. So go to that person and extend that to them. Do they deserve it? No. Do we deserve it from God? No. And that's why we should give it to other people.